Good morning, Meeple Mythos. I am Nick, and it's a beautiful Friday morning, and I'm excited because it's my favorite time of the week where I get to talk about board games. And so today we're going to cover a little bit of news, talk about some games that I played, maybe some games I'm gonna play, and maybe some videos I put out recently. But let's go ahead and get started. First things first is Ivy Studios has announced a new Kickstarter for their game Tend. Tend is a game that seems very similar in nature to like the Anarchy or what's the other one? Hadrian's Wall, where it's very combo-tastic, except you're like on a planet and you're tending the gardens in a way. But there's like little different mini games, like I think you can do a fishing and mining and stuff like that. And I really wish I had backed it. It's again one of those games. Ivy Studios is one of those companies that consistently puts out games that I'm always interested in. Every time they put out a new game, I'm always like, I'm gonna back this one. And they do a really good job at creating games that are very player centric, so very player interactive. And I just tend to play games at solo and 2 players, and if I get lucky I get to play it at more players. It just, maybe not lucky, but if I really go out there and push it, I can play with more players, but just generally I play with solo and 2 players. And so I tend not to get their games. I get what I did there, tend. I tend not to get their games just because they play better at higher player counts. Like Moonraker's one, I think it's their first game. I always have wanted to play it, and I've always been really interested in it, and I just never have gotten it. I've never pulled the trigger, and I've never gotten to play it because it plays better at higher player counts because of that negotiation aspect. It's only until recently I started just kind of going like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get some of the games. Like I recently got Veiled Fate, and I did get to play it at like 7 players. Very cool game. I would love to play that one more often, and apparently it plays pretty well at lower player counts. And Scales of Fate, which is their like 2-player version of it, but it's a very it's a 2-player only game, and each player has their own 2 colored gods. And the goal of the game is by the end of the 3rd age to essentially unravel who your opponent's gods are, what the colors are. And so you can do certain actions and whatnot. And, you know, if a player places a green god on a space that's going to give them points, you kind of might be like, oh, it might be green is your color. But it's very cool. My friend Anthony and I have played it a couple times and really, really enjoy it. Veiled Fate, similar in vein. It's a little bit more complicated. Plays a lot more players. It's very cool. Then they have like Altera, which also sounded really cool, but I had just gotten Campania. And if you know anything about Campania or those games, but they are these hidden action selection style games. They're different games. It's not that they can't coexist in someone's library, but Campania, you have these dice and they represent a number of workers, and behind a screen you're going to put the workers onto spaces that you want to go, and then once you reveal, whoever has the most workers at each location gets to take that action. Kind of area control-esque. If I remember correctly from Altera, I remember there being some kind of similar vein where you are choosing dice behind a screen, and then that's allowing you to do certain actions. But I think the area control aspect was removed from that. But it looked really cool, but again, seemed like it played better at higher player counts. So kind of passed on that one. Tend is the one game that I probably should have gotten from them, and I didn't, because it plays well solo, and from what I've heard and what I've seen. And I really like those style of games where it's kind of a combo-y. I love combo games. So I thought it would have been, I should have backed it, didn't. And then when it came to retail, should have bought it, didn't. So maybe now's my chance. I think now's my chance. But there's some new expansions coming out for it, so take a look at that when you get a chance. Again, I think they make really good games. I think that just for me personally, I just don't have enough players to play them, but I wish I did, because I would love to play more of their games. I really do. Then we have the Whisperwood. A few weeks ago, I mentioned during Gen Con that Whisperwood was a game that might be at Gen Con, but I don't think it ended up being, because I didn't see any news about it, or at least any pictures. The Kickstarter's live. or the Kickstarter's live, and Cardboard Alchemy is the publisher, and it looks pretty cool. It's a bag builder where you're playing as druids, with some, not area control, but some map presence, I'll say. I am sifting through videos as we speak, basically, to kind of just get an idea of it, whether or not I want to back it. I really like bag builders, and people are saying it's really good. And Cardboard Alchemy has not disappointed with their games over the last several years, between Flamecraft, Andromeda's Edge, even Flamecraft Duels, and what was the other one they did? They did another one recently. I can't remember what it is, but they've got a good repertoire of games. So I'm excited to see what they have in stock for this one. So take a look at Whisperwood if you like bag builders. And then finally, Kingdom Come Deliverance. So CGE and Thomas Holek and I'm going to butcher his name, Vlada Chivadl. Maybe I get it. They are back making Kingdom Come Deliverance. At this point, most people have heard of this, but it's a adaptation of the popular video game Kingdom Come Deliverance. And it feels very secretive. Like, they announced it, they said they're going to do pre-orders. CGE has been doing this thing that I think this is the second time they're doing this, where they're not doing a Kickstarter, but they're doing pre-orders. And once those pre-orders are done, it's kind of over. So the last time they did this was with the Adventure Chest of Arnak, where it was going to come with the Twisted Paths expansion, which they released separately later. But the Adventure Chest was an all-encompassing storage solution. And they said, once the pre-orders are done and we sell them, that's it. And so if you didn't get it, you didn't. I happened to get very lucky not too long ago finding one at a retail store. So I was able to pick it up, which was really nice. But Kingdom Come Deliverance is their newest or newer game coming out next year. And they didn't really put out any videos or anything like that. About a week later, they put out, with Thomas and Vlada, a short overview, kind of like a couple turns, and you could kind of see what was going on. But apparently Paul Grogan from Gaming Rules, which, by the way, if you have not watched his stuff, you need to. He is a fantastic teacher, and he plays some of the best games out on the market right now. And he was saying that Kingdom Come Deliverance may be a contender for top game of the year, which will probably be next year, right? We'll probably see this game come out next year. That's very hopeful. Now, if you watch the overview, it feels very open, and I think this is where people are like, what does this game do? Because when you watch an overview, when you hear what they're talking about, you can't tell what's going on. So it sounds very just open-minded and very open world and open-ended. And Vlada and Thomas have both said, like, yeah, it's kind of whoever can do things better. What does that mean, right? But it looks like you have, I think, one main action a turn, but then you get these like free things you can kind of do. But you're basically going around questing and doing stuff like that to get points, collecting new weapons to go fight different, in the overview, I think they fight a boar, playing cards from your hand in order to strengthen that attack or strengthen that action. So it's interesting, but it's expensive. It's very expensive. It's $200 USD. So in the US, we're spending quite a bit, because I think it's 150 euros, if I'm not mistaken, because I think that the direct conversion would be 175 US dollars, somewhere around there. So we in the US are paying a little bit more, but again, I mean, I don't think anyone can really blame them. They're producing it in Poland, I believe. So between shipping costs, tariffs, that may or may not impact the industry at any given time, and just the sheer volume of what the game has entail for what the box includes, kind of makes sense. And then you have the IP on top of it. So yeah, I mean, it's expensive. It's an expensive game. I'm currently in the progress of trying to convince some of my friends to purchase it so that way I can play it, because I just don't think I'm going to play it. And that may come back and bite me in the butt to not pre-order it. It might be a great solo game, great two-player game, but it looks really daunting. I'm not someone who shies away from daunting. If you look behind me, most of the games I have back here are very heavy games. Voidfall, Gloomhaven, Anachrony, Grim Coven. But a game like that to pull out solo sometimes can be like, I don't know if I want to. So we'll see how that works out. But to hear Paul Grogan say that his taste very much aligned with myself and some of my friends. He really enjoyed Civolution when it came out in 2024. We loved Civolution when it came out. But he's also liked other games. He like Andromeda's Edge. He really liked not Grim Coven. Elder Scrolls. He really likes Elder Scrolls as well. And yeah, Elder Scrolls is awesome. It's my number 9 game of the year. Who knows? Maybe it'll go up higher. I love that game. That game is a big sprawling game and it takes a long time to play. But I'm willing to put in the 10 hours per campaign to play it, especially solo. But yeah, so those are some news. We got some Kickstarters going on. And there's one more before I forget, that there is the late pledges for Concordia, Awakened Realms Concordia, are now open. So if you have not gotten a chance to check it out, or if you maybe backed at $1 like myself, or you didn't know about it, you should go check it out. They've got this one pledge that lets you get Concordia, Castles of Burgundy, and Puerto Rico, all for like one bundle price, which is actually a really good deal because I think, if I remember correctly, the bundle came with not the minis, but like the acrylic tokens. And I'm like, oh, that's so nice. And I may be going in on this one because I love Castles of Burgundy. I mean, it's one of my favorite games. My wife and I play it all the time. And on top of that, there's Puerto Rico, which I got to play the like deluxe version from Awakened Realms. My friend has it, and it's great. It looks so good, and that game is just such a fun game, no matter what. I mean, it's an old game, and it's still an amazing game. It's like I could play that game every day. And then I already have Agricola backed, so I would have Agricola and then Concordia. So I'm like, I don't know, these classic games, I might as well go ahead and do it. Especially because right now the only game that I own from those is Castles of Burgundy. So the only one that I'd have to kind of figure out what to do with is Castles of Burgundy, as far as reselling the old copy. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. It looks pretty cool. But that's it. That's the news I have for you guys today. So what I wanted to go into, one is a good rant, which is I have a bone to pick with UPS and FedEx, and who knows, maybe I'll be blacklisted from YouTube and podcasting for this. but they have been an absolute kind of like nightmare to deal with over the last week. It's not the first time that UPS has dropped off a package not at my place and it disappears, and they have a policy basically where if they say their driver delivered it, that's it. You can't file a claim. And at that time, the company who had also the sender of the game, it was an expansion. It was actually an expansion for Tekkenu, the Time of Set expansion. So this was a while ago, and no one could satisfy I just lost the money because I couldn't file a claim. No one would answer on the UPS wouldn't say anything. At the time, the company I bought it from wouldn't, give a refund or help or anything. So I just lost it. So this past weekend, I get a notification that Ostia from Crafty Games was delivered at my front door. I was like, oh, fantastic. So I had the windows open the whole time, and I was like, I didn't see a UPS guy. So I go outside, no box. Okay, so that's okay. I'll go check downstairs. They sometimes leave it because I live in an area where there's other houses that are kind of like in front. So okay, maybe they dropped it off. So I walk down, and I'm looking around, nothing. So then I start walking down the streets, trying to find if there's a package on someone's porch. I look like this really creepy dude just looking at everyone's house. So I nothing. And so then I'm like, well, okay, maybe I looked at the email. I looked at time framing wise, and I was like, well, I mean, I did look at the email, 15 minutes after it was sent. So, maybe someone brought it into their house, and soon they'll realize that it's not theirs, and then nothing. So then I'm kind of freaking out because the game was not cheap necessarily. It's a $100 game, after shipping and everything. So I email All Play, who happen to be the shipping people, trying to figure out what to do with UPS, but they're like, you can't file a claim because it says it's delivered, but there's no picture proof. So then I start looking online. People are like, oh, just wait 24 hours. But then 24 hours was Sunday, so I don't know if that played a factor. But then nothing on Sunday. And then Monday, at around the same time it was delivered, or quote unquote delivered, it gets dropped off on Monday, 48 hours later. After I had gotten an email and the delivery said it was delivered, 48 hours I got the package. And I was like, I'm not really, if anyone has any insight into that and why that is, please let me know, because that was weird and kind of frustrating to deal with, because I thought I was going to have to sit here and, go back and forth with All Play and be like, well, what can we do, and figure out what to do with, UPS. And luckily, none of that had to happen. Now, FedEx, you guys, I don't know what you guys are doing with my copy of Decko, but you guys are pulling me all along the country. It started in Florida last week, and it has literally just stayed in the Midwest for the last week. It's just kind of gone back and forth between Kansas and Missouri for some reason. And my friends also got his shipping notice at the same time I did. His got delivered on Monday. Mine's still nowhere near California. It was all around the Midwest, and then as of yesterday night, it said Arizona. So, but it had been in New Mexico for most of yesterday, and now it's in Arizona. I was joking that I was like, I think they're driving my game across the United States. I don't think they flew it. I think they're literally driving it. Someone got in a car and took my copy of Decko. I don't know what's going on, FedEx. You guys got to get your stuff together, because it's ridiculous. Quite frankly, it's ridiculous. And I really want to play Decko, because this brings me to my next point. I got to play Decko yesterday. I got to play my friend's copy yesterday. And I mentioned this last week that there's the two, poker style games where Decko is very like a Balatro game. And I mentioned last week where even the campaign was very much themed in that way. We got to play it, and it's super cool. It works. And I was worried when I backed it too, as well as my friend, that it wouldn't work very well at 2 players. Now there's no solo mode, but it plays 2 to 5 players. And so we were kind of worried. I was like, I don't know how this is going to play at 2 players. It's a poker game, right? It works really well. It's actually really fun. We want to play it with more players. We think there might be a little bit more kind of play, where someone's going to raise and, okay, fine, then I'll raise, and there's a little bit more of that at the table, which sounds like a really fun idea. But even just at 2 players, there was a little bit of that, and it was pretty quick to play, and the deck building was really cool. So in Decko, you have a market card, like a river, in a way. And once you are revealing your hands, if you are the winner, then you collect all the chips, and you don't get to buy anything. So you win, and you get closer to winning the game as a whole, but you don't get any closer to building a better deck of cards. It's very cool. Then, and it's not the first game that's done that, but it's pretty cool in this situation. Then you have the losers, who have an opportunity to purchase cards from the market, and then they work super similarly to Balatro. You have cards that where when you buy it, you immediately get 3 chips, or you get to immediately burn a card, right? And when you burn a card in this game, it goes into this like special discard pile that doesn't come back into your hand ever when you reshuffle. Again, just like Balatro. And then there's some that like give you special bonuses where a card, or not special, special bonuses, like when you play it, you get a chip, or when you have this in your hand, it counts as both, a 7 and a 9. So you can make runs work a bit better. Or you have cards that work as either a 7 or an 8. But there is like, or crypto cards where it like multiplies. So for each crypto card you have in the hand, you get 1 chip per card. So like, so then you have 2 cards, it's 2 times 2. It's really cool. Like it really, like there's all these like little different things. And then on top of that, you can build those, classic Balatro style runs where you're like, well, my whole deck is made out of hearts, so I'm going to always be able to do a flush. Or my whole deck is made out of, 3s through 6s, so I'm going to be able to do, or 3 through 7s. So I'm going to be able to do constant straights, right? Or straight flushes, right? So you can actually do those things in this game because the game lasts long enough for you to pretty much do those kinds of things if you play correctly. Now, if you fold in this game, you lose out on being able to really make purchases, but you do get to take one card from the market without having to pay anything. Otherwise, if you just lose, you can still buy from the market, but you have to pay the cost above the card. So when there's there might be a card, and so it makes folding a really unique strategy because now there might be a card that costs $4 that you really want, but your hand of cards is not going to get you $4. So you fold, you prevent the other player from gaining a ton of chips, and then you grab that card. So then you've got the Jokers. And the Jokers were really cool. They all did something unique. So there's 6 piles, and they all function based off of a certain mechanic. So there's Jokers for calling. So if you call, which means like matching your bet, then that Joker takes place. There's the raise Jokers. There's the burn Jokers whenever you burn a card. There's the fold Jokers whenever you fold. So there's these 6 piles that deal with like the 6 kind of like actions in the game. And there's quite a few of them in each deck. So it's you'll see different combinations, which is really cool. And you can only have one of each type. So once you got one, you're done. And it was really cool because it really helped a lot. In fact, I won mostly because I had a Joker that basically said, when I call, if I discard a card from my hand, I get 3 chips. So my friend would raise, and then I would then call and then gain some stuff. And we kind of went back and forth between that. It was a unique situation. And that was pretty cool. And so what happens is at the end of a round, without going too far into it, if at the end of the first betting phase, the bets are matching, betting phase ends, reveal the cards. But if then it's not even and you can kind of keep going back and forth, then at the end of a player's turn when it matches, you can do that. So I think I was able to call like twice. I called, he raised, I called, and then by then it was like a match. I got like 6 chips just because I was able to do that. And then I got another one that every time I reshuffled my deck, I got another 3 chips. So I got a ton of chips just from those 2 chokers just to finish the game. It was really cool. I liked it a lot. I'm really excited to play it more. Even if you're not a fan of poker, it was fun. It was a fun deck builder. I would highly recommend it. Unfortunately, it's not coming to retail. So sorry, guys and girls. It is what it is. But if you really want to track down a copy, you can. There is that other one, Hell of a Deal, that's coming out. That's a cooperative, poker game. It's going to be a little bit different. There's also Ace of Spades. Ace of Spades from Devere is also a poker solo game. Those are things that are available that will be available. Decko is going to be harder to get. With that being said, this particular company who made Decko, and the name of the company is escaping me right now. I don't think they're a US-based company. They made the game Moon and Villagers, which is this tiny white box. Not tiny, but it's a small white box. And I think even in those they mentioned, I think Moon is, I know I'm jumping all over the place. Moon was recommended by Shut Up and Sit Down. So it has like their seal of approval or whatever they call it. And I think that one was also not supposed to be retail, but then some of them came out to retail, if I remember correctly. This is the same situation where it said in the Kickstarter or GameFound that there would be no retail, but who knows. Now, I did find out that Decko is doing another Kickstarter apparently. So sometime this year, keep an eye out because Decko's doing a second print run apparently. I highly recommend you jump on that if you like poker games at all. If you especially like poker games with deck building, you got to jump on it. And it wasn't expensive either. I think after shipping and everything, it was $77. Now, again, that was this Kickstarter. It may be different. But it's pretty cheap. And the chips are chunky. They're nice. They're really weighted poker chips. Feel really nice. Cardstock is pretty good too. I liked it. It was good. It's got this like gold foil around it. We'll see how long it lasts. I always get worried about games like that. I probably don't need to. Like, I don't know if I've really ever actually, if I'm being honest, played a game so much. I'll take that back. I did Exploding Kittens play so much that I needed to buy another copy, which then I never played after I bought the new copy. But I always worry about games that don't have, that shuffle a lot and don't have these really nicer card stock. I'm thinking of games like, I almost wish games that shuffled more often would switch over to that PVC style of card, because it's so sturdy and I think it shuffles amazingly. And I would pay the extra money, especially if it was Kickstarter Game Found. I'll pay the extra money for it to be PVC. Like, that means I don't have to sleeve the cards, and they feel awesome, and they shuffle great, and they last a long time. There's just so many reasons why you would do it, but I get why you wouldn't, right? It's heavier. It makes things more costly. It's, the box is already heavy as it is. The PVC would make it heavier, so on and so forth. So I get it. So, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But I would like to see that maybe in the second one. I know that the Brass whole campaign just did that, where they redid the cards for Lancashire and Birmingham with the PVC, and I immediately jumped on it. I was like, I love Brass Birmingham so much, and I was like, I want those PVC cards. So I immediately got that too. So yes, Decko is really cool. Apparently, talking to one of the owners, or one of the workers at least, of our local game store, said that Drillers was coming out September 15th retail. I'm a little confused by that, because CGE, it's already on their website. So I don't know if they had some deal with distributors where they couldn't send it till September 15th, or what that's about. Because I think you can currently buy it from CGE, which I should have just done it. I just thought that they would be coming to retail sooner rather than later, and I very much like supporting small businesses when I can, which is also probably why I like board games, because most of these companies are small indie games, so whatever I can do to help. And so I think that, yeah, I don't know why it's coming up, but when it comes in, I will be playing it. Some of the videos that are coming up, I have my Eternal Sevens review up, so please go check that out, because I'm going to tell you right now, amazing game. It's an amazing game. I love that game. I got an opportunity to play the online kind of beta test solo, I guess. It's against a bunch of bots, and I must have played it 20 or 30 times, and it's such a good game. It's so fun. So there's that, and then I will probably be doing an Ostia review sooner rather than later. I'm going to be playing it solo a couple more times. I got a chance to crack it open and play it. I was very surprised when it said that it was a 2.0 complexity rating for such a big box. And as I was reading the thick rulebook, which is linen, so that's probably why it's so thick, I thought, there's no way this is a 2.0. That's like a Zool. Then I played it and I went, oh, okay, yeah. it's a pretty light game, which is really fun. It was cool. It reminds me of Trajan. I love Trajan. I sold my copy. I regret selling Trajan, but I also never got to get anyone to play it. And at least Ostia has a solo mode. So I'm going to be working on that recently, but keep an eye out. Next week, Fate of the Fellowship stuff is coming out. I'm going to be doing a playthrough and a review. Keep an eye out. And that's going to be it for today. So I hope you guys enjoyed what you guys heard. I hope you guys got some helpful tidbits on what's coming in. And otherwise, I will see you next week, or you will see me next week. I guess I don't see you. And so please like, subscribe, download, do what you can. Let me keep making stuff like this. And until next time, keep your myths legendary. I'm Nick, and thanks for listening.